These are our notes on section 3.1, properties of lines and transversals. A transversal line, you can see here, is a line intersecting two other lines. So you could see A is our transversal line here, intersecting lines B and C. Here's some of the terminology we will use with these transversal lines. The exterior is everything outside the intersected lines. Interior, just as you would think, is everything inside the intersected lines. Same side is going to be everything on the same side of the transversal line, as opposed to alternate side will be kitty corner or opposite sides of the transversal. So you can see here in the highlighted green versus the yellow would be alternate sides. Corresponding angles you can see here are on the same side of the transversal. One is interior and the other is exterior. So you can see here we have two on the top, or the two on the bottom would be corresponding angles, and they are congruent. We can see on this page that we have A is our transversal line, and it's cutting through lines C and B. Here are many of the different angles. We have alternate exterior, which would be angles 1 and 8. Alternate exterior, they're on the outside. And 2 and 7 would also be alternate exterior angles. Our alternate interior angles would be 3 and 6 and 4 and 5. Those are our alternate interior angles, and you can see they're all located on the inside. Our same side exterior angles would be 1 and 7. You can see they're found on the exterior side or the outside, and they're on the same side. Our other same side exterior angles would be 2 and 8. Our same side interior angles would be 5 and 3. They're found on the inside and they're on the same side, and 4 and 6. Then we have many corresponding angles. We have 3 and 7, 5 and 1, 4 and 8, and 2 and 6 would be all of our corresponding angles. Once you have identified where the angles are, there are some special characteristics we need to know about each of the angles. If the lines are parallel and they are cut by a transversal, your alternate interior and alternate exterior angles and your corresponding angles are automatically congruent. Same side interior and same side exterior angles are automatically supplementary if the lines are parallel. We're still not going to forget about our other angles that we learned about. The vertical angles will still come into play here, and supplementary, as we talked about right up there with our same side interior and exterior angles. In this picture, we have line Z and line M cut by transversal A. Angle measurement up here, angle measurement 7, says that it equals 102. So if we go to the picture, angle 1 would also equal 102. From there, we look for corresponding angles. Okay, so far we know angle 7 and angle 1 would be 102 degrees. Angle 5 is corresponding, and remember, corresponding means that it is congruent, so that it also has to be 102. So angle 5 is also 102 degrees. From there, I can look at same side interior angles. So if angle 5 is 102 degrees, then I know that angle 4 is on the same side of the transversal and inside the parallel lines. So it must be supplementary. So if I take 180 degrees minus our 102, then I know that I should be left with 78. So angle 4 must be 78 degrees because we know that angle 5 is 102. We also know that angle 1 was 102 and angle 7 was 102. So if angle 4 is 78, and we know that angle 6 is our alternate interior angles, and those angles are congruent. So if angle 4 is 78, then angle 6 must also be 78 degrees. Again, looking at same side interior angles, if angle 6 is 78 degrees, then angle 3 is supplementary. So again, that would be 180 minus your 78, and that would give me 102 degrees for that angle. Angle 1, we already know, is 102 degrees. So our same side exterior angle 8, if I go all the way down here, is supplementary. So if angle 1 was 102 degrees, then angle 8 would be 78 degrees. Angle 8 is 78 degrees, and it is an alternative exterior angle with angle 2. And angle 2, being that it's an alternative exterior angle, is congruent, so that means that it has to be 78 degrees as well. So we fill that in with 78. And now we have all of our angles filled in. Angle 1 was 102, and we know that that was an alternative exterior angle to angle 7, which was also 102. On this diagram, we were given that angle 4 equaled 48. So from there, we could figure out the rest of our angles. So if angle 4 equals 48, then angle 2, being a vertical angle, would also equal 48. Angle 4 and angle 5, as well as angle 4 and angle 8, would be supplementary. So if we take our 180 minus 48, it leaves us with 132. If we know that angle 8 is 132, angle 3, being a vertical angle, would also equal 132. And then we go from there. We have our angle 7 would be 48 degrees, and the vertical angle to that, angle 1, would also be 48 degrees. So as you go through and fill these out, this is what you should end up with for each one. And that is when we were only given our angle 4, which was 48 degrees. From that, we can go through and figure out all of these other angles. When looking at an image where there are more than one line cut by a transversal, like this one, it may be helpful for you to try to hide one of the lines to figure out which angles exist. For example, if we are referring to angle 10, right here is angle 10 and angle 2, this line right here doesn't touch angle 10 or angle 2, so I could pretend that it isn't here. So I can just ignore that one. Angle 10 is an exterior angle, and so is angle 2. So we've got angle 10 and angle 2. Since they are same side exterior angles, they would have to be supplementary. So if we knew that this one was 39, then we could take our 180 minus 39, and that gives us our 141 for angle 2. This angle 39 and angle for angle 10 would be considered corresponding, and corresponding angles are congruent. So if this is 39, then angle 10 right here, which is 39, and angle 5 down here, so that would also have to be 39. Those two would both be 39. And they're considered alternating or alternate exterior angles. So as I was mentioning, sometimes it is difficult to tell if the angles are on the interior or exterior, but it is important to look at which two lines are touching the angles you're talking about, and then if there are extra ones, pretend those aren't there. So I'll do one more example for this. Let's look at angle 2 and angle 6. Angle 2 and angle 6. So if I'm looking at angle 2 versus angle 6, this middle line right here does not touch it at all. So I can cross it off, pretend it's not there. We can just cross that off, pretend it's not there. There are two, or they're on the same side of the transversal. Angle 2 is exterior, and angle 6 is interior. So they are corresponding, so they would have to be congruent as well. So we would assume those are congruent, which you can see that they have the same angle measurement. Take a look at the rest of these angles and look on your sheet that's not filled out and see if you could fill them out. And then check back on this for reference to see how you did with your angles. Soon we will start solving for variables as well, where we can do like we did before with our angles, add them together, set them equal to each other to figure out what the variable would equal, and then be able to go back up and plug it in. And we'll look at those soon as well. But this is it for today.